It's time to lace up your skates. Here's your look at the new DC Collectibles DC Bombshells Big Barda statue. She may be over 250 years old, but that doesn't mean Big Barda can't enjoy the simple pleasures of roller skating, and more specifically, the sheer joy that comes from crushing your opponents in roller derby. As a member of the New Gods, she is nigh invulnerable and has been trained as a supreme combatant in both sword fighting and brawling. Featuring her trademark colors and reinvigorated helmet design, she's ready to pummel her opponents on the track. This 10 3/4 polyresin statue is limited to 5,000 pieces. To get this review underway, the first thing we're going to do is figure out how tall Big Barda stands. So I'm going to put that actually right to the very top of her head. Now I know what you're thinking. It's almost as if I can read your mind. You're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, you already said at the beginning of this review that the statue was 10.34 inches in height. Didn't you say that? Is that not what you said? Well, being the ever diligent reviewer that I'd like to think that I am, I always like to use the tape measure anyways, just to tell you guys, based on my own experience, how tall the statue stands. It's actually not quite 10.34. Instead, as you can probably see, it's 10.7. Well, that's not that much considerably bigger. It's, you know, it's like that. It's not even that. It's even less than that. But still, 10.7 inches in height is Big Barda in statue form. Now, how tall is she in centimeters? Well, let me go ahead and do that as well. Just a little over 27 centimeters in height. The statue comes in three parts that require a little bit of assembly, a little bit of TLC. You get, of course, the standard circular base that we've seen with all the DC Bombshell statue releases. In fact, there's nothing really different about this other than maybe the placement of where the holes go in for where you're going to attach the figure. Other than that, though, the base looks like it's identical. I love the floor grating on the top there. Nice silver paint all the way around. And if we flip it upside down, not only are we treated to this being an artist proof 28 out of a possible 5,000 copies. A very, again, limited 5,000 copy release worldwide. And then, of course, you then on top of that get 4 felt feet treated and greeted to you at the door. 4 felt feet to prevent scratching. That is the display stand in a nutshell. If we go ahead and attach Big Barda, you'll see that she has a large peg and a smaller peg right in front of that, the little baby brother. We're going to go ahead and line it up to make sure that the larger peg, see, you can see right there, large peg goes in the back, smaller peg goes in the front. Just line those up like that. I find it actually helps just to wiggle it a little bit to get that all affixed and attached in the statue. Now, right off the bat, that looks really good. The icing then added bonus to it is the fact that she also comes with a front placard plate, which sadly I have to admit I have some disheartening news that I have to present you, the mob. While I was actually moving some stuff around to get this review underway, I sadly dropped the plate. ultimately what it caused and ended up happening was I broke this part right off. I've fully disclosing this in this review in case you guys see and wonder why there's a big crack in there. Other than, of course, going in and painting that up, which I don't think my artistic skills are good enough to be able to accomplish that, I've got this noticeable little seam on the side. From a distance, if you look from a distance and slightly squint, you may not be able to see it, but I feel full disclosure I should mention it to you guys. It's honest Ed over here. There's a little magnet, and there's a magnet on the front. I'm going to attach that into place. It is magnetized. I mean, I'm not going to tempt fate any further by tipping that forward and doing the blizzard test. Blizzard test, by the way, is Dairy Queen, where you buy a blizzard. Yeah, they do this. Tip it upside. I don't think they do it over top of your head anymore, because I'm sure at some point that blizzard wasn't fully settled, or it might be slightly soft. Dumped all over Billy's head. Needless to say, I'm not going to do the blizzard test for fear that this is going to fall off again. Like I said, it is magnetized. It does stay in place. I don't know what happened. It fell, and well, again, there it is. On the front, you've got Big Barda, done here in a really nice blue scripture. And then you've got a little illustration of what the statue, basically it's the same pose in which the statue is going to be, and an illustrated side little image of her there. Moving forward from the ill-fated aftermath of the front placard falling off and breaking, which of course again I've glued into place. Just so you know, I've taken some precautionary measures. I've taken the placard off. That way when I am picking up the statue and rotating it, the last thing I want to do is like take and bang it accidentally with my hand, falling off and it adding further breakage to it. So I've just taken, again, some measures. It's over there, just in case you're looking. If somebody is asking, where'd the placard go? It's over there. It's over there. Okay, so let's have a look at the Big Barda DC Bombshells statue. That's quite a mouthful. Quite a considerable statue as well. It's unique in the sense that you get Big Barda here roller skating. Not necessarily skateboarding, but roller skating her way in a roller derby. Something of which I used to watch fondly, actually, back in the 80s. There was some roller derby shows that used to be on TV, and a very aggressive bunch of women would be roller skating basically around a ring and knocking each other to the sides and off the track. I'm guessing, based on the fact that this is Big Barda, that probably she is likely the captain of this particular team, which I might also add, if we pick up the statue here, the name of the team is Female Furies, a great nod to the 1972 first appearance of the Female Furies that appeared in Mr. Miracle #6 back in, like I said, 1972, a team that was, by the way, also created by Jack Kirby. I think also in November in 2018, so actually it just passed, Female Furies was supposed to get their own 6-issue miniseries, which I think ended up still happening. Again, I love the fact that they would put that in as the name of the team. That is a fantastic nod. In fact, actually, a lot of the statue has little nods. For example, Mega Rod is the name of her bat. And again, I'm not 100% up and up when it comes to the equipment used for roller derbying, but I'm guessing that this is a bat or a baton or a smaller tool. Of course, that the derbies, I don't know if what you would call roller derby players, but they would be the ones that would be using these while they're, again, roller skating around the track. So I like that little nod that they've put there, Mega Rod, done that also in red, a little heart there in the middle, like that. Love the grain also that they put into the bat. It's subtle, but it's still there. In fact, actually, there's a lot of little subtle paint jobs that they've done to the statue that just gives it a little extra life and personality. And while it may not necessarily be all one type of material, let me also draw your attention to the fact that they used real fishnet stockings. I love the fact that they would have used real nettings there on her thighs. I don't feel like any of this could get snagged and caught, but still be caution when you are moving it around. You can see kind of where everything's been stitched together, and generally for the most part, like the fishnets have remained untouched, undamaged. There's one little area here on the back that looks like it's slightly a little bit more stretched out, but other than that, fishnet stockings, I have to admit, look quite good. Let's have a look at the head sculpt, because of course I feel like I would be doing a disservice to any statue if I didn't spend much needed attention on the actual head sculpt. Now again, there's a lot of cues to this being a big Barda. Primarily, one of the biggest ones, and biggest being the operable word here, would have been her helmet. Any faithful fan of Big Barda's adventures in the comics would know that she would have a giant melon-sized helmet. Here we get a much more scaled down, something of which you would expect to see on the roller derby track, but it still has little nods, little reference points to Big Barda's original helmet, specifically with the colors, these kind of lighter shades of blue, the gold, and this crest that's very much a familiar crest that you would see on Big Barda, done in a very shiny crimson red. The face sculpt is quite pretty. And in fact, all the bombshell statues have been pretty in their own way. This one has a much more aggressive, maybe, tone to the type of expression that they've given her. And you can see, maybe playing roller derby, she has got her own little war injuries here. She's applied over with a band-aid or a plaster if you're in the UK. Other trademark things for Big Barda would be her notable black hair. Here it's been done in a braided way, and those braids kind of indicating the flow in which the statue has been poised in. Those braids are kind of blowing off to the side. I like that little, I like the way that those are just draping off to the side the way that they are. In fact, actually, my favorite thing about this statue, and it would be hard-pressed to find one thing I like about the statue, but I guess my favorite thing about the statue is the pose that they've got her in. It's incredible, an incredible feat. Feet being, again, the operative word, that they would put everything on the one weight of the foot, this foot right here. The other leg is completely poised straight back, but the statue is perfectly balanced. Probably not perfectly balanced when you're holding it in your hand the way that you are, but it's still perfectly balanced. Again, you want to be very careful to put this on a display and not be moving around. Certainly when you are picking up a statue, I'm always careful to pick it up from the base and never pick it up from the statue, because that would of course pull, potentially damage the pegs for the feet that would have been pegged in. In this case, one foot that would have been attached into the floor grating here. Paint is really phenomenal on this statue. Again, like I said, it would be hard-pressed to find one thing that I like about the statue. I could easily name off multiple things, and so probably quite quickly I may end up doing so in this review. I like the head sculpt, I love the pose, and most definitely as well, I love the paint. The paint is brought in bright colors, but the colors are actually almost even given a more pastel treatment, like the blues, the yellows, for example, and even like the crimson reds, all of which are really generally muted, given, like I said, more softer sort of approach. Even like the socks, the knee-high socks that she's wearing, are in a yellow and red, but they're not very bright yellows and reds. This kind of lends itself well to this being a Bombshells, kind of more vintage look, not utilizing a lot of bright colors, but instead kind of going more the approach of pastels. I kind of like that. The only time you get a little bit of a departure is you get more of a shinier, metallic crimson red done in the knee pads. The wheels in the roller skates, there's the back wheel of the other roller skate, and her elbow pads and helmet are the only areas that actually get a metallic red. The rest of the coloring is kept, like I said, very soft. Even like the flesh tone in her body, her face, and also the area in her chest and arms get not one, but actually two kinds of flesh tone, slightly a little bit darker in those little areas which would have natural bends when she's rotating the body that she is, in the way that she is. Again, I really like the coloring on this. I guess we can put her down right here and revisit. I certainly did not want to forget about the front placard, put that right in the front. Like I said, this is a fantastic looking statue. A new statue that DC Collectibles has now hit store shelves with at your local comic book stores. I have been a big fan of the DC Bombshells over the years, as you could probably guess it by the sheer number that I've reviewed on this channel. Big Barda would be very easy to say is my favorite of the ones that they've come out, but I mean, they have continued to churn out really good Bombshell statues. It would be so much easier for me just to simply say Big Barda is another good example of a DC Bombshell release from DC Collectibles. Big Barda I've always considered to be a strong female character in the DC Comics, so when it comes time for this warrior to sign up for career options under the DC Bombshells brand, logically it would make perfect sense for her to be captain. I'm guessing she's also captain of the Female Furies Roller Derby Club. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. A female warrior leading her group into charge against an opposing army? Is that really how you would describe roller derby? Another great job, another great release from DC Collectibles. One thing that they always do really good, especially when it comes to the DC Bombshells brand, is the fact that they nail the perfect pose for the type of career path that the character goes with. When I close my eyes and I envision Big Barda playing in the roller derby, likely being a champion team as well, if I was to close my eyes, this would be exactly the type of pose I would want her having in. I wouldn't want her having just a standing straight museum pose, unless maybe they had had the roller skates kind of draping down from her hands, holding by the laces. But if I'm going to give her a fluid pose, this would be likely the pose I would want to go with. Again, really great looking piece. It draws your attention immediately in when you look at it, and you want to look at the statue from all different angles. This is a statue that really looks its best on a turntable, because again, you can see all the different ways that the body is manipulating itself as she's roller skating her way against the opposing team. If you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, some good news though is the DC Bombshells Big Barda statue release from DC Collectibles should be available now at your local comic book store, should you pick her up. If you have picked up this one for yourself, let me know down below what you guys think of this particular statue, or if you've picked up any of the DC Bombshells statues throughout the years that they have been releasing them. Speaking of which, that's a good segue as any. If you guys are interested in going back and having a look at some of the other DC Bombshell statue reviews that I've done a fair number of them. Feel free to go back and check out the DC Bombshells playlist, and you can have a look at everything I've reviewed up to this point. Also, if you can't find a comic book shop in your area, it seems to be an ongoing problem. Say you want to get the statue for yourself, and you don't want to pick this one up online. Don't blame you. You can go to www.comicshoplocator.com, put in your zip code, put in your postal code, bingo, bango. You should be able to find a comic book store in your area. We're going to have some more reviews coming your way, so make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit the bell notification, because apparently that's a big priority now. YouTube feels the need to incorporate a bell notification. I don't even know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. But make sure you hit the bell notification and select Notify All, because that way, when new videos are coming to this channel, you guys will be given the heads up. And I'm all about giving you guys the heads up. So more videos, guys, will be coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.